As we continue our descent into authoritarianism right here in the good old US of A, with Donald Trump deploying the National Guard and even active duty troops to the streets of LA, we should also take a look at the jackbooted thug Tom Homan, who is making his rounds on Fox News, trying to sell these Gestapo-like tactics to the American people. As most of you probably know, Tom Homan is Donald Trump's border czar, and he's kind of what you might think about when you think of a jackbooted thug who is fascist in nature, kind of has a problem with words, does a whole lot of mumbling, threatens Democrats with arrest, tries to say that telling immigrants they have rights in this country is somehow against the law. He's just kind of one of the main purveyors of MAGA propaganda. And over the weekend, he gave an interview to Fox News where he kind of just gave the whole game away. Here he is admitting that he was in LA before these ICE raids even started. If you guys do appreciate my work, please do remember to subscribe.
Tom, how is ICE responding to these protests? And thanks for joining us tonight.
Look, we're going to continue doing our job. And yesterday, we got 118 arrests. You know, I was out here yesterday to kick off this operation. And what people aren't talking about is ICE served, you know, several warrants yesterday. These were criminal warrants. This is a criminal investigation. And today, we're continuing operations. They're not going to shut us down. We're out there right now doing operations. We're going to keep doing operations. We brought in more resources to push back the protesters, but I'll say it again, a serious warning. You can protest all you want. You got your First Amendment rights. But if you cross that line of impediment, or you're putting hands on officers, or destroy property, you will be prosecuted. There's zero tolerance.
Yeah, the problem is nobody trusts this administration to tell us where that line actually is, especially when you have somebody like Tom Homan, who has said that AOC holding these seminars to inform people of their rights is somehow against the law. But did you hear it there? He gave the whole entire game away. He said that he was in LA before these ICE raids started, which tells me that this whole thing was meant to put on a spectacle for the American people. Donald Trump wanted to wage war against American citizens in Los Angeles, and that is exactly what we are seeing. We also know that the Trump administration tried to say that there was all these riots going on, all of this wide-scale violence, when that wasn't even the case. Even the LA Police Department came out and said that we've got everything under control, your help is not needed here, but the Trump administration went forward and deployed the National Guard anyway. So, I mean, I think they are getting exactly what they wanted. I think they wanted this to be a violent clash between the Trump administration and people in LA. And, you know, I think that they inflamed the tensions just like they wanted to. And now we are seeing this devolve into a situation that could be really ugly for this country. And I think it's exactly what they wanted. Here he is threatening people of I think it's the LA City Council members. They said that, you know, if ICE shows up, we need to show up as well, kind of calling for people to peacefully protest or resist, or what, not resist, peacefully protest. But here's Tom Homan threatening to go after those people as well.
When they show up, we gotta show up even stronger.
So, Tom, will the Trump administration take action against these public officials who are threatening ICE agents with resistance?
Absolutely, and I think Pam Bondi and the Department of Justice is looking at that. And, you know, like I said many times, these elected officials or these non-government organizations, they can't cross the line either. I mean, we got people like, you know, Hakeem Jeffries saying he's going to dox ICE employees. You know, ICE agents out there with masks on. They're wearing masks to protect themselves and their families because they've been doxxed, their families have been doxxed, their life's been threatened, their families have been threatened. I know myself, I had over 1,000 protesters at my house. I expect that as the borders are, but these men and women are putting their lives on line every day. They arrested a lot of bad people yesterday and today. They arrested child sex offenders. They arrested people convicted of robbery. They arrested public safety, not only significant public safety threats, but national security threats. They arrested gang members. We're making Los Angeles safer. And Mayor Bass ought to be thanking us for making her city safer.
Why would the mayor of Los Angeles thank you when she came out and said that things are under control, we do not need your help? You forced yourself into the situation so you could spark this violence across LA. Why the hell would these people be thanking you? And since when is it against the law to say, or even for an LA council member to come out and say, hey, We need to show up. We need to peacefully protest against what ICE is doing. Since when is that against the law? Now you're saying that you're going to go after these people? You're going to have Pam Bondi look into these so-called threats against ICE? I mean, these people are so damn pathetic. Last I checked, we have First Amendment in this country, which means if I want to go out there and protest these Gestapo-like tactics that ICE is engaged in, I've got the right to do so. And for somebody in the government in LA to call upon the people of LA to stand up and peacefully protest as well, that should also be protected by the First Amendment. Like I said, these people are just fascist freaks. Anybody who dissents against them, anybody who doesn't toe the MAGA line, well, then get rid of them, squash them, crack skulls, whatever you need to do. That is what they are calling for here. They just don't want anybody to stand in their way. Then Homan goes on and tries to, kind of play the victim as to why we are seeing these ICE agents wearing masks as they do these raids.
Speak to that a little bit. Explain to us more, help everyone understand the threat that our ICE agents are facing by just doing their job, why they need to wear these masks, and also what actions need to be taken against Democrats who are demanding that they be unmasked, and what would happen if they do dox them and at least publish their identities.
Look, it's incredible. We're at a place where the guys, the men and women who enforce law, they're the bad guys, and the ones who break the law are the victims. You kidding me? How come they didn't say anything about BLM? They're out there. They were a mask. How about the protesters, all the college campuses that were protesting against Israel and the Jewish students? They were wearing masks. I didn't hear a word about that for.
How are you comparing ICE agents to student protesters on college campuses? What the fuck is this all about? Are you kidding me? The government holds the power. These students don't have any power. It is their First Amendment right if they want to wear a mask when they go to protest. But to have the government rolling their jackbooted thugs around wearing face masks as they perform these unlawful arrests, that is a whole different story. Sorry, just had to break in there. We'll return.
Well, these protesters wearing masks, but ICE agents are wearing masks for one reason, because the assault on ICE officers is up over 400%. The assault on ICE officers. They're being doxxed across the country. And their families are being attacked. Their families are being doxxed. Their families are being threatened. And I certainly understand it. I allow death threats. I've been doxxed. My family's been doxxed. I understand it. But they're wearing masks for one reason only: protect themselves and their families. They're doing a dangerous job. This is already a dangerous job. They got to wear a gun. They got to wear a Kevlar vest every day because they're doing a dangerous job every day.
Why are these MAGA lunatics always the victim? Since when is it okay in the United States of America to have our police force rolling around into communities, terrorizing those communities while wearing face masks? This is authoritarian shit that we were warning about, right? This is not standard fare for the United States of America. Police don't roll around with their masks up. If you weren't engaging in such illegal activity all of the time, maybe you wouldn't have to cover your face. And that's exactly what they've been doing, right? They round people up without any due process. They're often making arrests without any warrants at all. We've seen them smashing out windows based on the wrong information. We've seen them raid houses and steal electronics and other goods based on the wrong information. What is he talking about? If you weren't going around the country engaging in all of this lawless activity, these people wouldn't be as upset as they are. But instead, you've got ICE rolling into neighborhoods. You're targeting Home Depots, day laborers at Home Depots. You're going into the fashion district and you're targeting people who show up for work every day and are contributing to their communities. You are targeting those people, all while trying to sell to the American people that you're just targeting the criminals and the national security threats, the public safety threats. It's all a load of shit. They're targeting everybody who doesn't have skin that might look like mine. They want to get everybody out of this country. They've even shut down legal pathways to immigration unlawfully to keep black and brown folks out of our country while letting the white Afrikaners from South Africa in with their own special visa or protection. It is absolutely insane. ICE, if they weren't engaged in such illegal activity all of the time, if they weren't rounding up people without any due process, if they weren't deporting people, even American citizens, to other countries, maybe people wouldn't be so damn upset with you guys. Instead, you guys are rolling around like a bunch of brown shirts, terrorizing communities, and ripping families apart. Show you this one last clip where Tom Homan is now, again, threatening the investigation of Democrats.
So this is another threat against ICE agents, and we're asking the Department of Justice to look at these statements and see if there's something we can do. When do you cross that line on threatening ICE officers? And here's the problem. You know, you got all these people now attacking ICE. You saw they're writing death to ICE agents. ICE agents been threatened, their families been threatened, and you got members of Congress. You got some judges out there that compare ICE to the KKK, ICE to the Nazis. You got city council people saying ICE are terrorists. They're feeding the hatred. And here's my concern. I've been doing this for a long time. It's a matter of time before ICE takes a life or an ICE agent loses their life because the rhetoric is at an all-time high and is being fed by people who should be more responsible, elected officials especially, who keep firing up this rhetoric. I'm telling you, it's coming. There's going to be a tragedy because they keep throwing gas on this flame.
Fuck these people, man. You've got Tom Homan acting like the biggest baby in the world, the biggest victim, while saying, oh, it's only a matter of time, guys, before ICE goes out there and kills someone. You do not have Democrats in Congress making threats against ICE agents. Saying that we are going to figure out who these people are is not a threat. And to think that you're going to investigate people for saying we should know who these people are is quite insane, is quite fascist. When you got your agents rolling around this country, acting like a Gestapo, acting like a bunch of brown shirts, and then people call you out for that behavior, I mean, what did you expect? And then they try to flip it around on us, trying to say that we're the ones stoking the flames. We're the ones stoking tensions. We're the ones who are going to get somebody hurt. These people are absolutely pathetic. They are rolling around this country. They're engaged in unlawful behavior. They are tearing families apart. They are terrorizing communities. They are making arrests without warrants. And then they want to try to play the victim. Pathetic. This is what authoritarians do. This is what fascist fucks do. They're always the victim. They're always the one who's being targeted when it is they who are engaged in these authoritarian tactics against the population of the United States. So that's Tom Homan for you guys, making more threats against the Democrats, saying that, oh, well, if we're out there saying that maybe ICE shouldn't be masked up when they're rolling into communities, oh, that should be an investigatable offense. Who cares if the First Amendment's there? We don't care. If you say that the Democrats are out there saying that we should know who these people are, oh, that's an investigatable offense. Just more of the same. Tom Homan is the jackbooted thug, like I said, that you think about when you think about jackbooted thugs who roll into communities, who like to terrorize people, who like to make threats because they are currently in power. And it's all just so pathetic. It's all so predictable. Tom Homan is a baby back bitch. And, you know, I guess I'll just leave it there. So I will leave it there for now, guys. If you guys got anything out of this video, please do remember to smash that like button and subscribe. Maybe share with a friend or two. I'd very much appreciate that. We are trying to build something here on the left that adequately pushes back against the right-wing media ecosystem that just launders this fascist nonsense for the Trump administration every single day. So if you do like what I do here, please remember to smash that subscribe button. Of course, that is free. And if you guys want to see how these protests got started on Friday of last week and how they kind of escalated with Donald Trump making up stories to deploy the National Guard, go ahead and watch that video on the screen now. Kind of gives you a good baseline for where all this began. Otherwise, I'll see you guys on the next one.